Whatever one works for you.
All right, I got it.
One of
I
these
figured it
days
out.
we'll fix it.
All right. Hello, one and all. I'm peeking in the reds. Good times. Um, so welcome to this very chillax episode of Lunch Zone. We're just gonna go farming and probably talk about capitalism, but just gonna talk about farming. Um, that's my plan, is to be like, what does capitalism have to do with farming? Oh yeah, I
What does
am
capitalism have to do with farming?
everything, Ren. All right, let me read our lovely land acknowledgement. So, we acknowledge that in Milwaukee we live and work on the traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes, where the Milwaukee, Menominee, Kinnickinnic rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. And my eyes were ahead of myself in those lines, so I was skipping words. All right. I
Of course.
am the current host. I am Morgan. I am a cultural anthropology person at UWM, and I am joined by.
Hi, I'm Ren. I'm a English master's student at UWM, and I have farming subsidies. Oh no, no, we
But
are not. We don't want to become famous. That's exactly the antithesis of this organization. Get the hell out of here. The only subsidies I want are for my farmers.
I love that
Right off the
it's like
bat.
everyone just like so angry at the bots, but that means that we're making it big. That we're getting bots trying to get us to
Uh,
buy followers, right?
they've been slower this month. They were really active during the symposium.
Alrighty. Well, we'll just
Uh,
jump right into it. Now, Ren, I have the specific farm that we'll be mostly spending our times on, but I have. Oh, I just closed Steam. I think I crossed over the 500 hours in Stardew Valley line last week, I think. So,
nice,
I've been
impressive.
I've been playing this since 2016, on and off, making new farms, playing with the updates, doing all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so let's just jump into it.
It's what a fun game. I'm surprised you didn't show off the alien door.
Oh, the alien door. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I gotta love the
is
alien
it a
door.
D? No.
I think it's the E, isn't it E? Is it the top E?
Yeah, it's E. As I
Yeah, I
spam
love
click
the
it.
alien door.
All right. I think I have to turn down. Actually, the menu's loud, so we're just gonna leave the menu loud and then call it good. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
All right, sir.
I
So
love that we this week we're just playing games that relax us.
yes, 100%. So you have a few options to show. I have three farms that I would like to show you, because they're all on different farms. So in Stardew Valley, there's six, five or six different types of farms, and I have done. You can see the years. So I've done
You're
four
just
over three
touring all of
years.
your farms today.
We're gonna do a little bit of that. I want to show off some of them because they're really cool. Um, we got Chicken Max, we have Alucard, and we have Eli. Tell me that doesn't look like Alucard. Let's be honest here.
Die, monster! You don't belong in this
Hey,
world.
that's a Richter Belmont line.
I know
Excuse
it's a
you.
Richter Belmont line. Is there a good Alucard monologue for me to read?
I don't know.
That isn't from the animated series because I do really love the
The
animated
anime
series.
series. Oh, and you were one of the people that I showed my beautiful. This is what Isaac is supposed to look like from Curse of
Yeah.
Darkness. I wonder why they didn't do that. So in this one, I married Penny because Penny's the one that's most like me, and this is Eli. So I picked Eli. I picked.
Nice. I like your huge wall of games. It's very accurate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's all I'm gonna say about that.
All right. Let me go. Oh, I guess I can stream this to the Discord so you can see
Yeah,
it.
you could if you wanted to. Jesus, that's a lot of undulating barrels.
All right. There we go. Yes. So this is my keg storage. There's the kegs. There's nothing going on there. Gotta check everything. This is the mining. Oh, hi Gus. Hey dude, how's it going? Oh right, there's a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
Yep.
How
You know
good is
everything
this?
that's going on in town.
But does he know about Mayor Lewis?
Does he know
And
about
his...
Mayor Lewis, who's just standing right there?
You stole Lewis' statue! Yes. It's what he deserves. Yeah, Amberly sent me a text message as soon as he went live saying, jail for serious play for 1,000 years for playing Stardew Valley on the one day I can't make
Oh
it.
no! I'll play Stardew Valley again, just for her. Or them, right?
Yeah,
Or...
they're very dedicated to Stardew Valley. They were thinking about starting a Twitch channel just to play Stardew Valley.
Okay, guys. I'm gonna skip this. I got a mini jukebox. Sweet. Oh, is this because I must have better relationship with Gus? Um, so here are my dinosaurs.
Uh, nice. I like them. They're
Here's
very...
dinosaurs. There's a rabbit.
Man, we're not playing this on Friday, so we can't get the optimal jokes out.
We got the sheep. Also, in one of the updates, you can move the greenhouse, and I am so happy. Not being able to move the greenhouse was one of my greatest angers.
Was
Here's
it just like not just oh my god.
coffee. It just
That's what my house looks like.
it's never been able to be moved, which is really annoying when you're trying to like plan around it, especially in these like weirdly spaced farms.
Mm-hmm. I
Is that
like
my treasure
the
room?
verticality here. It's nice.
Yeah, this farm has like different verticals. Oh yeah, this is my treasure room.
Nice. Your own personal museum. I like your giant bear.
My giant. Oh yeah, the giant bear. I don't even
He
know where
looked
I
very
got that
pleased
from.
with himself.
He's so pleased. I love the chicken. He's just hanging
The
out.
chicken's pretty great.
I got this jukebox.
Nice.
All right, sweet.
Soundtrack of this game is pretty solid, so
It
it's a
is.
nice thing to have.
There's no music right now, which makes me sad. I
Maybe
don't
we
like that
should...
it sometimes comes on, sometimes doesn't. Um, it's nice when it's there, but it's also like I wish you were more.
You know, we do. I bet enough people in Serious Play have Stardew Valley that we could start like a 4-man co-op farm on a stream.
Oh man, if I that would work. Here's some honey.
And
Oh,
if even if we didn't, we'd only need 3 people because I could just get Amberly to play.
That's true. This is a very optimized farm. Now that I'm thinking about it. Wait.
This is incredibly cool looking. Oh, I like that. That's cool.
Oh wait.
But they are so that you don't have to stand on them. You just have to like get in proximity.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nope. It goes the other way.
I've seen
There we go.
nice. I've seen like exhibitions in science museums for kids that do that, where you just get close to something and wave your hand.
Oh
And it
yeah,
makes sound.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Probably just like a motion sensor or something. I worked at like a science museum for like 7 years from like high school through like high school and early parts of college just as volunteer work. So you see a lot of weird exhibits for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Alucard time on the
Alucard
Killing
time.
Farm.
The Killing Farm, because it's on the monster farm.
Oh, cool.
Blob.
Oh,
Blobfish.
nice. I'm told that that blobfish, like that look for the blobfish, is actually what happens to the blobfish when it comes up out of a high pressure environment into a low pressure environment.
That I would say that is correct. Apparently, I have not married anyone in this game. I have Mayor Lewis's pants.
I mean, oh my god, you have them on an altar in front of your bed?
Yes.
That's not at all, like, questionable in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, this one. Oh, right, because this one I was rebuilding. Maybe? Yeah, I think this one I was rebuilding.
Ooh, this looks a lot like a botanical garden style.
Yeah.
Setup, yeah.
It's not. I always do that. I don't know. Oh yeah, mushroom.
Ooh, mushroom tap.
I forgot
Cool.
that I had. I forgot that I had that. Oh yeah, this is my thing over there.
Nice. I do enjoy a thing in the general over there direction.
What is this farm? Oh, this is the Killing Farm. Duh, I'm stupid. I'm like,
Yeah,
what is
it's
this
the
farm
Killing Farm.
layout? Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Killing Farm.
Yeah, I come in and you're just like killing farm this, killing farm that.
I call it the Killing Farm because it's the monster spawning farm. So It kind of makes sense. This is a terrible farm. We're not going to look at this farm.
What is the point of the stream? Only to hype you up about how cool your farms are?
No, I just was like, I'm actually just going through my old farms because usually when I got to the end game, I stopped, because it got to the point. Forgot I had a chicken mask on this
So
guy.
have you played the update yet?
I have. We'll get there.
Okay.
This is after. Oh yeah, this is where I have Shane. Yeah. Can I show you my blue chickens? I have blue chicken.
You know, we have a certified Stardew Valley speedrunning expert in the chat right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, not correct.
What is your name? Cluck. I named my blue chicken Cluck. Good.
That sounds like a chicken's name.
Yeah. All right. This one's a
Could have named
farming.
it
This
Sonic
is
the Hedgehog. Missed opportunities.
missed opportunities. This is probably the worst farm layout, the fishing farm layout, because you just can't do anything on it in any meaningful way to optimize it. So
I mean, the point is for it to be optimized for fishing, so...
that's true, but you never get anything cool for the fishing. You always get like junk.
Oh, is it
I don't
just,
think
like, the spawn bad?
At least that's when I was playing. They didn't have a good. I don't know if they actually changed the loot tables on the farm, because it wasn't great, which made me sad because I like fishing.
You like fishing mini games and
I
video games.
I love
How
fishing
dare
in
you?
video games. For a long time in Final Fantasy, my fishing level was ahead of my actual main level because I just love fishing. Okay, so this is the main one. This is
I
actually
had
the
like
main
the
farm.
misfortune as a kid of playing Sonic Adventure
Oh
on the
yeah.
PC and getting to the big levels and then learning a pure vitriolic hatred for fishing mini games in any
Yeah.
game whatsoever.
What do I got here? I got some mango wine.
Is there anything Sonic can't ruin?
Uh, I'm trying to think about that.
I was gonna say Mario, but depending on your opinions on
The
Mario goes
Olympic
to the
Games.
Olympics,
Yeah.
it could be different. There we go. Okay.
No, I think they've tried just about everything. I
Are-
haven't seen Sonic on a bank card, so like that might be the
I'm sure that
line.
exists in Japan. I'm sure. Okay. So let me put this mayor statue somewhere.
Be a pretty shitty bank, you know. All you need to do is somebody punch the side of it, all the money comes flying out of it.
Also, so you can put hats on your horses now. I just want to point
That's
out
nice.
how awesome that is. Look, he's got a fun turban on,
Nice.
or a head wrap, I guess. Okay, so Stardew Valley. I'm just gonna go and do my daily stuff because that's what you have to do in Stardew. So yeah.
I like all your Junos back in your house, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Very
That's
cute.
actually, so I'd mark this stream as spoilers because I don't know when this game last updated, but it's had a lot of major updates, including the Ginger Island stuff that I'm totally gonna go to because it's so cool. And I don't want to spoil anyone in case they haven't gone there or want to see it themselves. So
Every Serious Play stream is a spoiler stream.
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So it's
But
raining.
you don't read an academic paper on the Sixth Sense and are like, I can't believe they spoiled the movie, you know?
Yeah. I got a golden scythe. Great. Great time.
I think like when I was really young and writing papers, like I think I just started college and I wasn't in English yet. I was like concerned about spoiling the the story for somebody who was reading it, and then I realized how dumb that was.
Got my batteries. I need to go fix this fence. Ah.
Sorry, we can't have an academic discussion about the end of The Great Gatsby. We wouldn't want to spoil it for anybody.
Well, it's really, for me, it's just like if people just want it, because I don't. I was
No, you're
watching.
fine.
I was watching the FanFest stuff for Final Fantasy this previous weekend,
Ooh.
and they were like showing off the new regions, and I closed the chat. I closed the Twitch thing because I didn't want to necessarily spoil all of the regions for myself, because I'm like, I want to experience it myself. Even if I go there, it's releasing in November, so in 6 months, I'm probably not going to remember these one shots, developer shots that they show us.
Mhm.
But it's still like I want to experience it fresh. So
No, and that's fine. But I think like if you don't want to have like Stardew Valley spoiled for you, maybe don't watch a Stardew Valley stream. um, I know I'm a real freak, Um, but no, I think like there are contexts where obviously like I think that spoiling is like kind of bad, but I think in general, and I guess this may be victim limit. I think in general it's on the person who doesn't want to be spoiled. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying in every case this is what happens. Uh, like for instance, I had Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Does anyone really care if I spoil Star Wars: The Force Awakens?
there's a time limit on that, and then
10 years ago,
it wasn't
I'm
10
gonna
years ago. It's like
spoil it. No, it was like 7, but
6. Yeah.
It feels like
um,
it was 15 years
it
ago.
was 2014, right? Christmas 2014, if I recall.
Yeah, I was in college at the time. So.
Um, I was alive in 2014. But anyways, I was watching a sports stream, Detroit Lions, and there was like, like when you're watching an illegal stream and like people and there's like a chat sometimes at the side, and
Mhm.
people, somebody just like posted the big spoiler for that, like 3 words, right? And I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's spoiled. Like that's you're just being a jerk, right? Like we're in like a sports chat. You're just hoping to spoil it for somebody, right? But if you're like doing a stream of Resident Evil 8, you should expect to have Resident Evil 8 spoilers,
Yeah.
um, and like I guess if you're doing like a professional review, you need to like leave some things in because the presumption is that you're recommending if someone should or shouldn't play the game. But like outside of like limited context, if it's relevant to the game, you should expect to get spoil it. I
Yeah, I
just
think like the other model there is pretty similar to like just any other kind of trolling, right? Throw something out, get a reaction. The reaction's the point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
I have too many eggs to put in my
it,
mayonnaise.
if a lot of people have had it, I actually haven't had a lot of experience with like that kind of people just jumping in somewhere and being like, haha, gonna spoil this thing for you. But it would make sense if the vitriol more in general for spoilers comes out of that. But I've always kind of found I've never been the kind of person who watches or plays games for like specific story beats. I really want to like experience the getting there. And I don't know if that's like how people say on average or don't on average experience storytelling or games or whatever else, but like it's always made the concept of being mad about spoilers kind of weird to me.
I
You
think
know?
you have to. Well, I have to imagine that if you're like somebody, not even if you're into somebody who cares about the story beats, but right, you're about to sit down and I don't know, play such and such game, and then you get some detail of the plot spoiled. So and so. Oh god, 20 years, 25 years in the making. Aerith dies. Sephiroth kills Aerith, right? And
Yeah.
now your whole experience is colored, right? Because like you're by knowing this information, because now you're thinking about, oh, when is Aerith going to die?
Yeah.
When is it? When is Aerith? When is this thing that was promised going to happen, right? And so I can understand how a spoiler might affect an experience in that way. I was watching. There's like a Tim Rogers video, like how to avoid spoilers forever. And one thing that he said is that he literally will just ban words on like Twitter. It's like any post with like a mention of like I think this was around the time when Game of Thrones was popular. Like any post even mentioning Game of Thrones is like automatically just filtered, right? Because you can filter words. But then he also said like with his friends, the way that they recommend, you find some people you think you have similar taste in, and you just like have your friend just come up to you and be like, dude, I'm trying to think of a good movie. Dude, Minari. you should watch it. You know what I mean? Just that. And that's how I want to live my life, you know? Like I don't even watch movie trailers, right? Like so like when it comes to spoilers, right? I don't want I'm fully on the bandwagon of, I don't want to know anything about it going in typically. But I'm also like if you're watching a stream of Stardew Valley, you should expect Stardew Valley to be spoiled for you. You know, like
Yeah.
and I'm not criticizing you, Morgan, or anything like that, but more just like I think that like sometimes the way people talk about spoilers, like no, if you're in a context where like people are going to be talking about the thing, you should expect it to be spoiled. In my opinion, it's almost like any detail is spoils. You know, it's not just like the big plot twist. It's like
Well,
any detail is a spoil for the
I
thing.
was watching. I wasn't even watching. I was playing a new update for Final Fantasy, and it's an optional side quest thing for extra battles. It's optional. It's completely side quest. But I was excited about it because I had been following that side quest when they released it in the patch, and people were talking about it in chat, and they're like, "Oh man, oh he's a like oh when he did the oh, it was so emotional, and he did that thing." I'm sitting like, can you just like stop talking about it? And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I know you well enough to know what is exciting you. Like someone is either crying or dying or something to the point where you're gonna ruin the story beats because I can predict what's happening because I know you so well that I know what you get excited about. So just say it was good and leave it at that. so so yeah, I can definitely be like, I don't want to go into it at all colored because it's just like something I'm excited about and I want to completely experience it rather than being like, oh yeah, Clam did that really cool. It said it was really cool. I wonder what he thought was really cool, sort of thing. But yeah, that not to say that I don't discuss it afterwards. And it was like 2 seconds after that I did it, so whatever. But yeah, I need to put some wheat down.
It's just an interesting like topic to talk about, just because whatever you don't want to hear about a work inherently contextualizes what you value about a work. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think whatever a corporation thinks is going to generate buzz if people see it, inherently also suggests what the like economic value of a work is defined to be. So
Yeah, and you can kind of see that with the certain things that people like Resident Evil hyped up for 8. Now that 8 is actually out, it hyped up a lot of
Whoa, this isn't a Resident Evil 8 stream.
No. I'm just saying it hyped up certain things in the trailer. And after playing the demo and watching the trailer again, everything in the trailer is in the demo. So like they didn't give anything away for the game. They're just like, here is the demo stuff in the trailer.
here is Big Lady.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah, and that's all I'll say. It's
Yeah.
like everything in the trailer was in the demo. So it's interesting that they just like didn't give anything away in the game with the trailer. They were just like, you don't see anything. You already played this in the demo that we gave away for free.
I really want to like go shake the hand of the person who decided that the thing that they were going to push for 8 was Big Lady, because like that person stood in front of a room of other people and said, "You know what the internet's going to love? This. And we should just let them do whatever they will with it, and that'll generate a shitload of money and buzz for our game."
Yeah, and I think, and honestly, like thinking back on like Resident Evil 7's trailer, it's very similar. You have this center, so they might have been capitalizing on 7 hype, because in the 7th trailer, guy gets captured, he's looking around, there's a bunch of weird people, and then there's this central figure that leans down and says, "Hey, you're playing my game." Excuse me. And that's the trailer. And now in Resident Evil 8's trailer, they go, "Hey, look, weird things are happening. Also, you've been captured by insert another bad guy who says, 'Hey, you're playing my game.'" That kind of shows the like they harken back to that, but in Resident Evil 7 it was a dude, like a weird looking dude, whereas Resident Evil 8 is a large lady.
Yeah, and because of the various ways discourse works on the internet, large lady is going to be. I can't imagine there was as much fan labor around Resident Evil 7 leading up to Resident Evil 7.
Oh, there was a
as
lot.
There has been to 8.
There was a lot of hype for Resident Evil 7.
Right, but fan labor specifically.
Fan labor,
You know?
not so much. It was much more the what are they doing with Resident Evil because this looks way better than 6.
Right.
Also, what should I name my ostrich?
Osteoporosis.
I.
It's the best ostrich name of all time ever.
Is that an E or is that an O?
Does it-
Do you think I know how to spell osteoporosis?
I think it's an I. All right, come here, Google. Let me figure out.
It's only relevant for that
It's an
game
O.
that you have.
That looks close enough.
I was close.
When
know
I
how to
was
spell-
in,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, nope, I was gonna tell a dumb story. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I didn't have anything to say, so go ahead.
When I was in high school, one of my close friends linked me to some animal cruelty website which claimed that milk gives you osteoporosis, like cow milk, because it's unnatural to drink cow milk or whatever.
I got an ostrich. This is exciting. All right.
Incredible.
Watch out. I hear ostriches are a side effect of milk.
Yeah, spilled milk. Whenever you cry on it, over it, an ostrich is born.
He's so cute. Okay. So I've just spent all day dirtling about, and I totally missed my opportunity to go get my watering can. That's fine.
I love that Stardew Valley, like there are games where I don't like time mechanics or having to manage my time particularly. But one of the things I like about Stardew Valley a lot is that you can get so like the time mechanics work in such a way that like when you get too involved in something, you forget that there's other things that you had to get done, and that's like in a very like satisfying simulation of because the other side of that, of course, is that nothing in Stardew Valley matters so much that the fact that you've forgotten about it for a day is really going to cause that big of an issue for you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's also one of the. It kind of highlights the like labor, the amount of labor needed for, going to like farming and stuff. Here, Harvey, have this thing.
Does it? Your statement in context makes sense, but your statement in a vacuum.
Yeah, farming takes. Yeah, it's just like here, have this thing, and then I run away. But yeah, so I kind of was thinking we could talk about because most of this game is so I have to time manage in this game. Like there are times like you get totems that'll take you to wherever you want um instantaneously, and you definitely need them if you want to actually get far in like Skull Cavern in the desert or getting anywhere on Ginger Island or being able to do a lot of things on Ginger Island, I should say. Do I need to do anything else? No, I'm just gonna go bed. You also can move your bed now, which is fantastic.
Well, also like the primary mode of like upgrading anything in this game is a result of saying, hey, this thing that used to take you X amount of time, well, now it takes you less time.
Yeah, and it's all like it's focused around like there's a time mechanic, and that's tied to labor in a way because like me running around and getting eggs at the beginning of every morning takes me like 2 hours in game to walk around, pick up all the eggs. Why is it still raining? I need my Jumanjos to do things. Ah! They're sitting unharvested. Is there a thing that I can make to make it not rain? Probably not. You can make it rain, but you can't make it not rain. That's fine. But yeah, so there's like going around, getting my chickens, doing my wine casks, picking up pickles and everything. It all takes time. And that time is rewarded with, money. And that's what the whole game is based around is, getting money, buying upgrades with said money, doing the thing with the money to be able to like just accumulate wealth. Like I'm at 2 million right now and I have nothing to spend it on. I guess I do have something to spend it on, but it wasn't for a long time that you had anything to do with it. And so there are some people who make fully farms, like just make it all blueberries because blueberries is the best crop. money-wise, or they make it all like corn and things. I need to harvest that to maximize their coinage to be able to continue the game. Um, Whereas I like doing variety stuff because it's funner that way, but I know it's not the most efficient way to play. Um, and the game doesn't really reward you for playing varied very much.
Well, the question is if I'm a designer and it is intrinsically rewarding to play varied, right? Because you're getting more experiences, then maybe I do less to reward that. And I do more to reward specialization because that's the play pattern that you're less likely to see and thus increases the amount of variety between different play sessions.
Yeah, except I think that is like a good idea in a vacuum. Like if I was designing a game, be like, hey, like having honey and having creatures and things and loving them is enough variety in itself. You get a lot of the if you factor in the fact that people have discussions and the wiki is so readily available to tell you what the best crops are, that it kind of beats out variety playstyle. They're like, oh well, you should just be planting blueberries in the early game because that's what gets you the most money, and then it doesn't really talk about end game stuff. So over time,
Morgan,
it just becomes not variety.
Let me point to something. I was This is you play Magic.
Yes.
This is a weird non sequitur, and then it'll come back in. Okay, but I was reading a post from like the Mark Rosewater, like the lead director, and he said like less than like 2% of players engage in like online discourse around Magic.
Yeah.
Right. I bet you it's the same thing with Stardew Valley and the wiki. Yes, you, Morgan, you're getting up, you're about to go get your PhD and like, you're interested in games. Of course, you go look up the wiki. And I'm sure a lot of the other online players, if you're in an online community dedicated to Stardew Valley, they also use the wiki. But what's the percentage of total players who use the wiki and engage in that kind of online thing? Is actually quite low. And so when we're talking about design, I think it's always a trap for a game designer to design for the online community or like the vocal online community, you know what I mean? And that would include anyone who would use a wiki in the way that you're describing to like maximize their thing. There's always going to be someone maximizing it, and you can't really design around them, I think.
I think like 2 points. One, engagement with the wiki is a careful thing that you have to like clarify, right? There are not going to be a lot of people who are writing and or in any online discourse around a game.
Just to be clear, I'm talking about reading the wiki.
Right, but the thing is that reading a wiki, when a person is able to track and say, well, this is how much of our fan base engages in online discourse around X thing, to the Magic point, right? They're probably, in all honesty, tracking forum posts or tracking some sort of metric that they can actually engage with. Readership is a bit more ephemeral, and so I'm willing to bet that a larger percentage actually do read online resources and just don't engage in the discourse. But maybe that puts us up to like 5%, right? That's not enough to like critically change the argument.
20%,
Yeah. What I'll say is that to the question of designing around your web users, it really depends on the game.
Like so a Five Nights at Freddy's, which lives and dies on its virality, right? Okay, you're gonna design around that aspect of the game, and I'm not saying, or like a competitive esport game, I like Dota, right? 0.001% of players in Dota are of the highest level, right? But those are also the players who are being watched on streams, right? Or in Hearthstone, right? Like, I guess I'm a special rank, or a special, I'm one of the 1% of players or whatever who have reached the legend rank. So I guess maybe I shouldn't speak directly to this, but the streamers, right, are streaming the game and they are in that highest percentile of skill, right? And so you do design the players around them to some degree. But in a game like Stardew Valley, I don't know if that's the case, right? You do want to reward your dedicated players in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, and you do, but like in the way that the systems are kind of being described here, if I were Concerned Ape, who's the designer of this game, I would be more concerned about making like, I want to put enough systems in the game so that my players are just like, I want to have chickens, and I also want to have cows, and I also want to have crops, and I also want to have this monster farm, right? You just want them to do everything. It doesn't matter if it's efficient so much as for I think for that kind of player, as much as each one of those things individually is fun enough on its own, you know, and prompts you to want to maybe not too fun, so that you go do the other things too.
Yeah, and I think it's also a bit of a trap to assume that people will value a game's data visualization as the metric of their own success, you know?
Yes.
Like, there are definitely a large contingent of players, no doubt, who look at how much gold they have and go, well, I want to maximize that, or look at how much time they have in a day and go, well, I want to maximize on that. But, like, I mean, this is kind of like in the vein of D&D, right? You also have the players who will come to a game and they'll look at those two metrics and go, like, as much as it affects me, I'll pay attention to it, but I'm much more concerned about the role play of existing.
But at the same time,
you know?
Stardew Valley is really only, like, there are quest-like objects, like finishing the community center or doing X, Y, and Z, but the main metric for, you know, quote-unquote success, in-game at least, for your farm is, yeah, you can have fun on it, but it's also at the end of the day how much money you get every day. Like, oh hey, like my honey got me 20,000. I should continue to plant jazz seeds in the summer so I can get jazz honey. Or, oh hey, like dinosaur mayonnaise is better than, you know, void egg mayonnaise. I should make more of those.
Sure.
So it's
looking to maximize things. Go ahead. Sorry, I'll let you.
Yeah,
I'll let you
it's now. There are people who are like, well, I want void chickens because they look cooler than dinosaurs. I don't know who says that, but, you know, there is people who will be like, well, I want that variety and have the different things. But at the same time, the game really is, like, you don't get in, like, the game doesn't say, hey, it's cool that you have every single type of chicken. Like, you friended Shane enough to even get the blue chicken. It rewards you for having, like, it doesn't really reward you either way, actually. It just, the metric that the game gives you for success in your farm, at least in general, is cash, is what money you can get to spend on other things. So you can't, like, trade for a silo, you have to buy a silo. So it's
Sure.
kind of like reinforcing money as an aspect of the game.
I don't disagree that is like the measure by which your farm is graded or something in some aspects of the game. But let me draw an easy comparison for me to make. Okay, I'm a very competitive player. I think I run a show called The Arena for 2 years, right? I was a legend player in Hearthstone, whatever. I'm a very competitive player, right? We would agree I'm the kind of player who would probably look things up, right? When playing a game, if like the metric of success was like within that bound, right? I've watched, you know, tons of videos, you know, when I start a competitive game, right, of how to best play that game. Now, Civilization, I have Civ 6, right? Civ 5, all right? I think you might think that I would play Civ 6 and I would look up, like, what's the best civilization and what is what's the best way to win, you know, or whatever, right? You might think that, right? But you know, I played a lot of Civ 5 and a lot of Civ 6, not so much recently, but when they came out, or just whenever I was into them, and I barely have ever. I'd just be like, oh man, this guy from Tokyo, this Japanese guy is like, his coastal benefits. I'm just gonna try to build a coastal thing and see how it goes, you know? And I think a lot of players are like that with any single player game, right? It's like they're just, you know, they're going to be like, goose eggs sounds cool to me, you know, like, and they're just going to go for goose eggs. Yeah, I don't know if goose eggs are the most optimal thing, but that's rewarding in its own right, because it's like the variety. I got to make the choice of which kind of egg or chicken, or I got to make the choice that I wanted all the chicken, right? And I think that for most players, that is how they play a single player game, right? Even if the metric of success is how much money your farm makes, for most players, I don't think they care so much about if their farm is 100% optimal, or if the egg that they got was like the most efficient egg making process, or right. I'm not saying that isn't the play pattern of some players, right? I just don't know if that is a ubiquitous play pattern across the majority or even
Well,
a significant minority of players.
Well,
And I think it's also worth not. I want to throw this in there because it builds on what Eric's saying, if you don't mind. But like, it's best not to forget that, like, even within the construction of the games, like the game's construction of the player, that there are a bunch of other metrics that are a little more subtle for success, like just getting through the day.
Romance.
Like, that stuff aside, the romance meters, the experience you get for being a better farmer up to the points of getting those perks, right? Like, all of those have more to do with just spending time with the game and doing the activities than they do necessarily with a data visualized idea of what is optimal or what is not optimal. I'll admit that in Stardew Valley, the best thing that I enjoy doing is the dungeons. I'll skip whole days, just grind out combat because I really enjoy optimizing there. But like, that's not the best way to get money. It's also not the best way to engage with these things. And I think like one of the cool things about Stardew Valley as a game is that you have players who are going to like grasp one system within the game's many systems and attach themselves to it, and then start valuing that in a way that they don't value the other ones, like fishing for you, right?
Yeah,
And then you pick the fishing farm, and then you get disappointed about how bad the fishing farm is.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I guess
Shoot, I was gonna add one little thing onto that, but just go ahead, Morgan. I lost it a little
I
bit.
think
So
maybe my point's a little bit lost. I'm kind of not implying that it has to be that people play to be efficient. I'm kind of saying that the game in some way focuses the player on monetary action, on things to get you money, whether it is.
I just flatly disagree. There's no penalty. The thing is, there's no penalty for
There's no
like not
penalty.
having money.
But if you
right?
wanna like have chickens or like have the variety in the game that you want, you're gonna have to start engaging in getting money in some way. Whether it's just like farming parsnips all day long, or if it's, you know, harvesting wood to sell or something. Like
I just think that kind of logic could then just be turned around on like any game with an RPG element, because experience is a currency, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're playing and I don't know, at that point it becomes kind of a not so meaningful gesture to me, for me at least, because typically we quantify success in a game in some sort of numerical fashion, and I don't know if I'm particularly interested, at least, yeah, I'll say for me, I'm particularly interested in a scholar of taking that and like making some sort of more capital-based argument upon it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that that there's something to be said for the fact that like your actions like the limiting factor, if we're talking about this like in a chemical sense, right, is you need money to accomplish things. And like, yeah, that's true. It's not true of literally everything in the game. It's true of a lot of things in the game. You need money, you need time, or you need energy. You need one of those three things to get things done. That being said, I think it's worth like pointing out that there's a difference between the things that you can do with money and the things that you know, and the money itself. And so like it's like in Final Fantasy 14, right? Like, is the end game getting optimal equipment, or is it getting optimal equipment so that then you can focus on fashion and transmogging and being, you know, stylish for your friends and doing these more like softer, less statistical endeavors? And I think that textures a game in a different way. I think Stardew isn't about like accumulating money and then, you know, it's more about what you can do with that. And that's, I'm not saying that isn't like capitalist in some way. I'm just saying that that's a little bit different than saying like, well, I want to get my number real high, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, perhaps I'm just not arguing incorrectly. I'm just saying that it is kind of one of the, like, at this point I have nothing to spend on, so it's just kind of sitting there accumulating. But, oh, I didn't want to stay out this late. That's fine. Um,
I
but it's
think for me, oh, go ahead.
no, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I thought you were done.
I don't know where I'm going,
You
so
were
go.
okay? So like this was the idea that came to my mind when Ren was talking. For me, I look at like two kind of different play patterns or thoughts. The first is is something that you self-described, Morgan, a moment ago, which was that that with Shane, you get the blue chicken, right? If you marry Shane, you can get a blue chicken. I presume you can't get a blue chicken any other way. Is this true?
Yeah, you can only get
Now, I
if
presumed based on the way you described it that you knew this before when you chose to go and marry Shane. Like that was the purpose of marrying Shane, right?
Oh no, I married Shane because he's like my husband.
Okay, because like your husband
Your
in real
husband
life.
gives you a
Right?
blue
Because he's like my
chicken?
husband, yes.
My husband, the blue chicken. I was
Well,
actually
wait.
I just learned that the state bird of like uh, Rhode Island or something, or I think it's Delaware, is the blue hen. But anyways,
Oh my
I was
God,
looking
I
up
have to look
state
this up.
birds the other day. I looked at every single state and I read the bird name out loud to my wife. Anyways, these are the things I get up to at 11 o'clock at night. Anyways, um, okay, so you married him because he was like Eli. That's good to know. And that kind of maybe almost more validates my point. The way you made it sound was that you wanted all the chickens, and Shane gave you the option to get the blue chicken, the one you couldn't have. But I digress. That was the way I read your play pattern. But I think a lot of players, right, they don't know anything about what they get for marrying Shane if they're gonna marry Shane. They're just like, I'm gonna marry Shane because I like Shane, right? Like
Yeah.
you kind of described, right?
Mhm.
And if someone is playing for that, then the game has successfully, in my mind at least, divorced itself from the player purely thinking in terms of those kind of monetary values. Right? They're making a decision because they're like, I like this NPC, right? And I want to marry them because I like them. And or I like X and I want to do X because I like X. And I think Stardew Valley as a game kind of excels at that in particular.
Mhm.
There's a really, I mean, like in the game's narrative construction, there's a really interesting tension that like is described in some ways by this whole argument, right? Like where you're leaving your job because you're burnout and tired, and you're going to this to try and escape
Yeah,
the
I'm escaping the
paradigms of that
capitalist
job.
pigs. That's kind of what.
Yeah.
It's kind of what.
And the result of that, and I think this is kind of where Stardew Valley creates this interesting thing, is that you can find ways to like make labor meaningful inside of this structure, you know, by recontextualizing it, right, or doing these things that are more meaningful to you. But there are like, I think Stardew Valley is very clear about the fact that there just isn't, like, even in the country, you don't get away from the clock and the money that you need to spend for things, even if in some instances you can trade for goods and
Your
you
character
know.
doesn't need to eat to survive. They kind of
Yeah.
live an idyllic existence in that
Yeah,
thing.
well, there is
Like
that.
your actions do not affect your livelihood.
Yeah, it's a weird.
You always own the farm, right? You don't lose the farm if you don't work hard enough.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if if it was something like that. It's like, hey, like this is.
I think that would be really bad.
It'd be really stupid. It'd be like a weird plot point. If it was just like a, hey, you have to like, well, because you kind of get the incentive to work on it from Grandpa's ghosty Grandpa, because he's like, I'll come back in year 3 and tell you if your farm's cool. That's what he does.
Hey, dude. Rockin' farm. Gonna go back to heaven now. See ya, sucker.
Of, yeah. So it's kind of the incentive to it, but yeah, I agree that it's kind of like the underlying message is you want to get away from a dead-end job. Instead, you're just kind of doing hard labor instead of an office job.
At least it's
sort of
something that
idea.
you're enjoying, and there are ways to like make do. Essentially, it's a weird game to talk about in that way because like the thing is that capitalism isn't fun, or at least it's not fun unless you're incredibly successful. And running around on a farm that could get foreclosed at any time, it doesn't fit the atmosphere or the mode of play that Stardew was trying to accomplish.
That's what Ghost Grandpa's there to tell you if your farm's cool rather than you getting
Yeah.
on.
Exactly the ultimate metric of success, I suppose, in some ways, is, hey, dude, you got a cool farm, nice. Not like how much money your farm's making. It's that your dad comes back and says, or your granddad comes back and says, yeah, man, rock on or whatever, and that's interesting. The game Stardew is an interesting textual object because it like doesn't sit in any of these boxes like neatly, and I think that you could do a stream just talking about this for like 2 years and playing with it, different moments in it. And I think that's part of why it's like culturally persistent too, is that like, and maybe that's why Harvest Moon before it was, because there are so many things so many modes of play and so many like ways of thinking about your experience, I'd at least like to think that even if people aren't thinking about their experiences in a scholarly way, they do like thinking about how games interact with them,
Sure.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go get some seeds.
But hey, maybe people like to turn off brain, play Titanfall 2. Who knows?
Maybe. And it's definitely like I have a friend who I used to play, like I played Minecraft with her a little bit, and we never kind of stuck with one of these kind of sort of games, and she described it as like, I don't like make your own fun games, because I don't want to make my own fun, I just want to be given the fun. So like she kind of
they don't want to work for it.
Yeah, they're kind of like, well, I want to play, like she played all the way through Resident Evil 8 when it came out, and she likes, story driven or cooperative games that people like left Dead by Daylight and that kind of stuff. But she doesn't really like Minecraft or anything, because like, well, even if I have people playing with me, it's still a make your own fun sort of thing. And sometimes I just want to go loot and shoot in like Borderlands rather than deciding what I'm doing for the day every single day for I've gone through like 3 days in like 50 minutes, so it's like every 20 minutes I have to be like, okay, what am I doing today? I don't like that. So it's kind of an interesting perspective that I don't want to make fun. I like making my own fun. So yeah, but yeah. What kind of seed should I get?
I don't know.
Hey guys, games are complicated.
Seed.
I don't want to.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the things is like, as Stardew Valley, I think it invites this kind of discussion for sure, because its narrative is very much like it's like setting up some amount of escapism from the from like an explicitly kind of capitalist structure, right? Which is the I would hesitate to call the ludic structure of Stardew Valley to be particularly invested in recycling capitalism in some ways, even though there is like paying money for stuff, right, or like using resources. But sometimes I wonder how much academics we can sometimes I think misplace, especially when it comes to something so big as capitalism. And capitalism is like an essentially a very murky concept in full. Murky as in like you can really just even taking just Marx's descriptions of it, right? And that's why like I'm getting a little sidetracked, and that's why like like you'll have like a conservatives be like like Jesus was like pro-capitalist. Like capitalism didn't actually exist in Jesus' time, right? But you think it did because he talks about like money lenders or tax collectors or something, right? So you're like, well, we have those in capitalism, so it must have been capitalist time, right? And so, but I think sometimes like the grafting of like capitalist structure onto games to like try to like find meaning is and I'm not saying we're doing this here today, but I think just in general in especially in like English media studies discourse is kind of a
red herring. Is communism the red herring? Sorry.
No, it's not a red herring. It's like a crutch. It's like there are more interesting things to say than like, ooh, look, I found capitalism in Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's because and sometimes in the way that these things are taught in the classroom, especially, it can be treated as though like that is what we do. Right? We just find capitalism and things or something like that.
Yeah. I think the reason why I kind of it's brought up is because of the escape from capitalism narrative that you get at the beginning of the game. Like,
Stardew Valley has it more than other things. I agree.
And I'm not gonna say, I will concede the point that it's not necessarily like the most important thing to have this capitalist economy sort of thing in Stardew. You can talk about it from a more of a game mechanics way of, hey, we need some leveling up system So you don't just make chicken coops and farms and barns and all these kind of things right away. We have to make progression exist. Whether that progression is, experience and getting into like iridium sprinklers, or the experience of going into of getting money to buy the farms and stuff. Like there has to be progression in game mechanics. And the reason why I just kind of pointed out is because there's a lot of like in Stardew Valley for certain players. I'll give the caveat for certain players. Like for me, I don't usually skip out on my morning chores because I'm like, well, no, I got to go get the chicken eggs, or else I'll have too many chicken eggs tomorrow, and I have to go get the cow's milk and the truffles and the sheep's wool and all that kind of stuff, and I have to make sure that I have my seeds planted. Like I have these daily chores that I'm constantly putting into the game. That is that kind of it doesn't reinforce anything. It just kind of adds to the labor equals money, do labor to get money to do things sort of
But I mean,
cycle. And that's for me
it's
though.
a game about farming,
Yeah.
right? And like, I don't know, right? As like at some point, are you graft? I'm kind of just posing a question here. Are you are you grafting just like the experience of being a farmer, even in a non-capitalist society, sounds kind of like what you're describing, right? Like
Hmm.
you get up in the morning and you do your chores, right? And
Yeah.
like even if you're not in a capitalist structure, farmer in the mornings and you have to go pick up some fucking eggs to milk some cows, right?
But at the same,
Like,
I
There's
would.
the like desire to avoid entropy, right? The desire to avoid the deterioration of the thing that you've built and maintained for a
Mhm.
really long time is a powerful thing. Like even in Stardew Valley, I recall playing and like getting up one morning and being like, I've been playing this game for like 5 hours now, and I don't really want to go and harvest all that food. But knowing that like things could die, things could get misplaced if I don't go clean, then like shit could get up someplace. That irritates me. That's a
Mhm.
powerful motivator, regardless of whether I'm getting money for it or not.
And I would say like I would argue that maybe in Stardew you're not farming for sustenance. There's no at no point like unless you are specifically trying to go for all the recipes, cooking recipes. Um, there's really no reason to cook except to eat a mushroom every now and again for energy. Um, so I feel like that's why I differentiate it from like farming in a non-capitalist setting, sustenance farming, because you're not farming to feed yourself. You're farming on like an industrial scale sort of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, you're
But
definitely not farming for sustenance. That's
the
for damn
ostrich
sure.
is out. Hi, ostrich. You're
Oh,
cute.
hey, osteoporosis.
but in some
Ostrich.
ways, then it's like almost it's a remediation of farming as something worthwhile in and of itself because you're not doing
Maybe.
it for sustenance.
Yeah.
And like for me, not doing it for sustenance is like, especially within the framework of a capitalist system, is like anti-capitalist almost or something in some way. If that makes sense.
Well, most farmers in modern day don't actually farm for themselves. They just farm to sell, and then they go buy food with that money.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I compart thought about it. But yeah.
Then there's the whole like there's a whole nother part of this discussion we could have if we weren't running up at time, where we talk about the Jojo Mart versus Pierre fiasco.
Mhm.
Because like that, oh my god, what a weird
That's another
like
like
microcosm of this conversation.
yeah. Although I will say it's kind of interesting the way that it was framed because it definitely was a like Walmart versus everyday grocery stores sort of mom and pop
Yeah.
I
stores.
mean, yeah, Amazon, I would say, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's Jojo Mart and then I put Walmart. That's kind of how my brain.
yeah. I guess it's a little bit of both. For
Yeah.
me, I guess I just never saw Walmart in them, which is funny because I despise Walmart.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things. But it kind of, for me, didn't, it resonated, but probably in like the wrong way, because Pierre's prices are higher than Jojo Mart's prices, and that's because of economies of scale, et cetera, et cetera. But living in a college town uh, in practically nowhere, Walmart, and for a college kid, I went we grocery shopped at Walmart all the time because we couldn't afford to go to, Econo Foods and buy food from there because it was too expensive.
Yeah.
So when Pierre's like, oh, you need to keep these mom and pop stores open, and we gotta fight JoJo Mart. I'm like, well, maybe you should think about like ways that you could incentivize people that are not like, maybe do something better. Like, I'm sorry, like like Pam can't shop at Pierre's Mart because she can't afford it. She has to go to JoJo Mart's because it's cheaper. So
And like,
Yeah, but
oh my God.
I mean, to some degree, right? You got to keep the lights on, like.
yeah, oh yeah,
Like,
no, oh, it was not. I was just saying that it was interesting how that story is true, but also reflected like my personal experience, kind of.
while we were streaming, Iris got 3 subs and hit 500.
Woo!
Wow, congratulations!
Snaps!
Everybody who is watching, go subscribe to I Am Error on YouTube. Go do
Seltz
it.
grape. I was supposed to give a grape to Kent. I don't think that is active anymore. It is not.
When I search I Am Error, you're the first thing that comes up. Congratulations.
There's not, I don't think there's much competition for that phrase.
That's fair. But still, it's nice. It's nice to be to be SEO optimized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really think many people. I think people searching I Am Error. I don't even know if they're looking for me.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to look up like a error that they're seeing. You probably are actually like taking advantage of like some random photo scanner has an error that is like that says IAM error, and so they look it up on YouTube and they find you.
I wouldn't really be taking advantage, because if someone's searching for something that's not my channel,
Oh, it's just
they're not going to click on my channel, right?
Yeah, but they might accidentally look up like people who are looking up troubleshooting on Google. And then looking up a specific error, I presume, are a little bit more computer literate. So I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. I'll flag that for later, or I'll think about that later, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever happened, but it is something you can imagine happening.
Yeah. Alrighty.
By the way, I know we've said this on stream like Monday, but seriously, I'm so glad that the speedrunning Minesweeper video is doing so well for you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well,
damn.
yeah, just one subreddit, post that pops off. It can be, that can do a lot. So.
Yeah, sure can. We we know that firsthand too. Thanks, Matthew. Oh man.
Slimes, why are you here? Get back in your cage. There you go. I gotta kill these slimes. Alright, there you go.
I also think there's something about Stardew Valley that makes you never want to put the game down.
I can see that because there's times where I'll play Stardew Valley for a long time, but also it's one of those games that is really helpful if I'm like doing papers or something and I get a itch to do something else, because I'm quite ADHD in that regard of I can't work on this paper right now. I need to do something else for at least a little bit. Going and playing Stardew Valley for like 30 minutes, doing 1 or 2 days is enough for me like, okay, I've done something else going back to this paper now, or going back to reading. I'm able to come engage.
I do that with like Minesweeper.
Yeah, Minesweeper. I do that with Tetris as well. So it's just kind of game
Solitaire.
Solitaire. I don't really do that with Solitaire because I play Solitaire until I win, which can take like hours.
That could take a while.
It's like, no, I will get one game where I win. I used to be able to do the standard 3x3 Minesweeper in like 9 seconds on my phone. That was fun. Oh, nice. Apparently mammal swines give birth to a baby pig. That's a good. I named a lot of my animals after Pokemon.
Got a name.
I'm a dip.
All right, that is probably where I'm actually going to end this stream. Okay, Thank you for stopping by, Eric and Ren and everyone else who's in chat. And have a great day. If you're in finals, good luck with finals. If you're grading papers, good luck with that, etc., etc., etc.
Wee.